It's no secret, stress is killing us. Its role in adversely affecting your mental and physical health is firmly established. If you're feeling stressed and taxed to the limit, chances are fatigue has set in. So you don't even have the energy to exercise. Plus, your sleep is likely disturbed, compounding the problem. As for your diet, most stressed out people, what do? They reach for the comfort foods, those sugary, delicious ones that pack on the pounds and make you feel even worse. Well, the effervescent, brilliant researcher Sam Graci is here to help us to revitalize our minds and bodies. Sam is also the inventor of Greens Plus and author of many best-selling books. I have one of them with me, the Bone Building Solution. After all, strong bones are foundational to building your health and energy. Once again, our lines are open for you to call in at any time. And with Sam, please call in early. Sam, it's great to have you back with us.
Oh, Christine, it's always such a privilege to be with you. You're also a person who lives what you talk about, and you put optimum good health on the table every day for you and your family, what you eat and the exercise you do.
Oh, I try. I try.
And you're lean and strong, which is really wonderful.
And that's a real compliment coming from you. It really is.
Thank you. You know, it's interesting because sometimes people wonder about you and I and other people who talk about health and research in health and so forth. Do we actually do it? Do we live it ourselves? And most certainly we do. And we try our best to do it.
Sam, I have a confession to make. Sometimes I fall off the wagon a little bit,
yes,
and I do reach for that bag of chips and the ice cream, but this is okay occasionally.
Yes, you know, actually our body is really magical and mystical in what it can do and what it can handle. First of all, we need to be happy. No matter what it is, we need to be happy, morally strong, but happy. And sometimes some comfort food can fit in. I personally don't do that. I just look at a bag of chips, and for me, I can't see anything positive about it. But when people do, I think we call it the rate of recovery. As soon as you catch that, you've been off for a day or half a day, get right back on to eating better salads and eating better proteins, going for walks or walking the dog or taking the children to soccer, and while they're playing, jog up and down or walk.
You gotta fill up your life with the good stuff.
We need to do it, and we can't be so worried. We can't feel guilty once in a while. There's no need for guilt. There's no need to feel guilty about food. We have to bless food before we eat it. We have to be very grateful that we have food, but we also need to give ourselves a survival advantage. It's a big word today. Research that we did at McGill University in Montreal, up to the age of 24, everything, no matter what we're eating or doing, everything is on the increase. So our body is responding well. Nature gives us a survival advantage. So we can become parents and bring new generations of people to this earth. But after 24, we lose that natural survival advantage, so we have to get it ourselves through what we eat, stress reduction, good sleep, some exercise. So we need to bring a survival advantage back to our own lifestyle.
Sam, I have to talk about Greens Plus, because I really don't think, and this is not about pushing a product, I'm telling you this being genuine here. Greens Plus, it's, okay, first of all, there's often a divide between traditional medicine practitioners, medical practitioners, and alternative. And there really doesn't need to be, because many medical doctors even have combined the two, because what you are is what you eat in many ways. But Greens Plus was investigated by a very skeptical researcher, Dr. Boone. And it's something I raise when you're here, Sam, because it was proven by an extensive researcher and skeptic that Greens Plus, in a study, an extensive research study, that it did drastically improve energy levels. Energy,
wellness, and vitality, to quote from that particular piece of research, because Greens Plus has been through 7 clinical studies. That's more than any pharmaceutical drug, by the way, which is quite prestigious. But in this case, Dr. Heather Boone, who was head of the School of Pharmacology.
I interviewed her, and she said it years ago.
She wondered if products in natural health food stores were bogus or were for real. Good piece of research. So she took the most prominent one, Greens Plus, tested it with 100 women in Toronto who had never heard about Greens Plus, double-blind crossover study, the highest gold standard of research, and she proved that Greens Plus, she didn't know what it would come out as, but the research came out that it increased vitality, energy, and wellness, and the incidence of colds and flus.
Well, she was open about her skepticism here.
Yes.
Very open about it, but that's what the research turned out.
That's what the research turned out, and since then, the University of Toronto Faculty of Medicine, many other universities have really researched Greens Plus, and it really pleases me so much because I knew what it would do in that kind of research from the research that we ourselves, and now it's the #1 product used across Canada. So it really pleases me to know that people are getting the enormous good health. So every day, whether it's on an airline, my wife or I, or in a hotel, or as we travel, we get enormous stories, whether it's Sarah McLaughlin, the entertainer that approaches me, or just a housewife or a taxi cab driver.
I've known people that have said their life has changed.
Yes.
Wow. Now, Sam, a big reason you're here today is to really discuss with us and provide some tips when it comes to stress.
Yes.
A big killer.
Number one problem all over the globe, no matter where
you're
it
big
is
on
today.
mind. You're big on the connection of the mind and the body, which is firmly established in science.
Yes. Because a book I wrote 2 years ago was about the mind-body connection.
That's right.
And that mind-body connection, I called the book The Path to Phenomenal Good Health, because I said, really, we're created for wellness. We're not created for illness and be depressed and be energyless. Generally, we create that ourselves. So we have to get back to being natural men and natural women. And we don't need to depend on extra things to give us energy, or we don't need to depend on stimulants. We need to get back to our basic biochemistry naturally. It will really serve us well. Now, stress comes in because what stress does, when stress comes into the system, every hormone in the body, hormones for good mood called serotonin, hormones for deep sleep called melatonin, hormones for energy called dopamine, they all decrease because the hormone related to stress called cortisol is the biggest and strongest hormone in the body. And when it is secreted under stress, any kind of stress, relationship stresses, financial stresses, deadline stresses, multitasking stresses, driving stresses, then cortisol comes raging up and everything else declines. It's the strongest one, and it pushes everybody else down because it means red alert, red alert, red alert to our nervous system, because it was meant to fight or flight. But today we excrete cortisol so much, and cortisol is very, very acidic. And it's important because it eats away at the hypothalamus, the part of our brain that is our decision making. It gets into the male organs, it gets into the female organs, and it starts to be acidic there. So in the female's case,
so
estrogen declines, progesterone declines, yes, testosterone declines, and then serotonin declines, so we become moody and bluesy or depressed. So at all costs, we have to lower cortisol levels. Surprisingly, the three most important ways to do it are free, effective, and the outcome is enormous. One is prayer, two is meditation, three is laughter.
Wow.
Our research shows that up to the age of 14, we laugh and giggle 200 times a day. By the time we're 18, and from there on in, we giggle and laugh 3 or 4 times a day. We give up our natural joy of laughter. We take life so seriously. Now, the implication is this. When we laugh and giggle, our brain is hardwired that when we laugh, we actually make serotonin, our mood-modulating hormone. So it lifts us up, we feel better, we feel integrated, we have better self-esteem, regardless of what the dilemmas in our life are. So we're better to our family, we're better on our job, we're better to our community, and we can fulfill our purpose for being here. Now, as serotonin levels go up, when we go to sleep, serotonin naturally cascades into melatonin. So the second benefit is we get natural deep sleep, but we can't get it without serotonin. And today, we are a serotonin-deprived society.
Yes.
Low serotonin is the need of antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications to try to lift it up a little. But I've shown all my books, the last one being The Bone Building Solution, or the one before that, The Path to Phenomenal Health, what to eat for supper to make lots of serotonin. And when serotonin levels are high, Christine, I know I'm going on, but we stop craving. So we don't crave alcohol, we don't crave drugs, we don't crave abusive behavior. We're more content and we're more natural, we're more humane. So
now,
we have a better chance of being peaceful.
There that I don't want to get away, because you don't hear many researchers making that connection between the serotonin and the melatonin.
That's it.
What you hear is that stress impacts your sleep.
Yes.
But you don't actually hear it that way, which is why
yes.
so many stressed out people just can't sleep.
Yes.
It becomes a natural process for them, unfortunately.
You don't have the hormone that puts you to sleep.
Wow.
So, and now you can pop something to put you to sleep, but unfortunately it may knock you out for the night, but you don't get the benefit of real sleep, because when we secrete melatonin, there's a little gland here called the pineal gland, the size of a pea, right between our eyebrows, just back in about 1/4 of an inch. When we make good serotonin levels, and so we feel good in spite of what we're doing with life, we can handle the dilemmas of life. You know, we're more in equilibrium, let's say in balance, emotional, psychological, physical balance. So as we feel better with serotonin, serotonin automatically cascades into melatonin. Not only does it put us to sleep, But serotonin lowers our body temperature by 1.5 degrees, so we chill out, we last longer, and then we make little hits of human growth hormone from our pituitary gland, only if melatonin is there, and it's growth hormone that renews, restores, revitalizes, reinvigorates us while we sleep. So sleep is not a waste of time. We're meant biologically to sleep. It's not just for sleep. We actually restore and replenish to get ready for the next day.